Alright, well, it's been a little bit since I've made a video like this, so I'm going to make it quick and to the point. Um, Final Fantasy XIV being good is going to make World of Warcraft better. And why do I think that? Well, Final Fantasy is a competitor to World of Warcraft that WoW never really had over the course of its entire life. They've always been the top dog. World of Warcraft has always been just a juggernaut in terms of the MMO industry. And they haven't had a real competitor ever. And I think that it's showing because World of Warcraft has never really had to try. Like they've always just kind of had the player base. They've always just had people. Um, their earlier expansions had a lot of really good content, and they've missed the mark. Like 3 out of the last 4 expansions, So them having some competition is going to make them have to do better, or they will just lose their players, right? So why is that important, and how is it good for World of Warcraft? Well, World of Warcraft has been stagnating for a long time. Without any real competitor, they've just kind of fallen apart. They don't really understand what the players want anymore. And Final Fantasy, even though it's not necessarily the same type of game, I would say that Final Fantasy is a lot more oriented for the story-driven people, um, and for the people that like that aesthetic. It is still a very, very good game. I've been playing it a lot. And in comparison to WoW, I think that Final Fantasy is going to be more appealing to almost everyone. Almost everyone. I'm not going to say it's just strictly better, but the way that retail WoW is right now, it needs to work out a lot of things before they will really be even equals right now. The fact that it is taking this long for their first patch for Shadowlands is insane, and there's a very strong possibility that this could be the only patch in Shadowlands with the time that it's taking. We don't know when it's gonna come out. It's taking too long, and I know that their plans were not centered around having this take this long. This is an abnormality for them. But Final Fantasy XIV, they have an expansion coming out in 5 months, and it is probably going to be really good. The way that Final Fantasy does their content patches has been, well, I haven't actually been there at the start of any expansion, so I can't say for sure, but when I look into it, they have a lot of patches, consistent patches, 5 patches, and they're over the course of 2 years, and they have a new expansion every 2 years. So why is this important? Well, World of Warcraft, even though they've had expansions roughly every 2 years, um, their content is not consistent at all. And if they're going to try to have another patch come out when Endwalker comes out, I don't think that's going to work out for them. I'm going to be honest with you. 9.1 needs to come out like right now, and then they need to quickly work on the next patch and make it amazing if they're going to try to compete with Endwalker. Um, and I don't think Blizzard really has it in them right now. I think that Blizzard is going to get clobbered in the next roughly a year. But I do think that um, they're going to have an epiphany, basically. They're going to realize, like, hey, we're no longer just destroying everybody else in terms of subs or content. We really need to actually try again, and we need to get a good team. We need to get like people to understand what the players want from World of Warcraft, and just do it. Um, and Final Fantasy growing at the rate that it is, and the amount of people that are coming from WoW to Final Fantasy 14, I think it's going to be an eye opener for them. Um, but anyway, the reason I think that World of Warcraft really, really, really is going to benefit from this is that they can learn from what Final Fantasy XIV did correctly and basically just try to take from that, just like Final Fantasy XIV did from World of Warcraft. And at the end of the day, I really just want them both to be good. I would love to have two different MMOs that are fun to play instead of just like always looking for the next one instead of like being able to just dive into one and really enjoy it. Because it's been a dead market, let's be honest. It has not been a good market for a while. There hasn't been any new games, there hasn't been anything. It's just been bad. It's been desperate for a lot of people who like MMOs or those are their preferred games. And I think that maybe we're like on the precipice of like a revolution in terms of MMOs. Because you're gonna have World of Warcraft, they're gonna have to make it better. They can't just let it sit and just die. You know that's not gonna happen. You have Final Fantasy XIV, who is consistently just getting better and better with time. You have New World, which I don't really know anything about, but I have heard some people are excited for that. And then you have Ashes of Creation. You have ESO, who I believe is kind of on the downtrend, and Guild Wars 2. And over the course of the last like 10 years, have we gotten any new MMOs except for ESO and Guild Wars? And those were like at the beginning of those 10 years? Not really. So Ashes of Creation coming out in probably the next couple of years will be the first real actually new MMO that could potentially be huge, aside from New World, which is coming in August. But it's been so long that World of Warcraft, their real competition hasn't even really started yet. And it's going to get really interesting seeing all of the different MMOs and seeing what they do, since the player base is kind of like dispersing a little bit. But anyway, that's my thoughts on why Final Fantasy XIV becoming more popular, more mainstream, its growth is good for World of Warcraft, and why I think that if any other MMOs come out and are a good competitor for any other MMOs, it's good for the MMO genre. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, please like the video. And yeah, if you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.